the tickets. We get surprised ourselves because all the metrics are telling us that we can't have a main stage that's dedicated to hip hop, and we can't have a second stage that's dedicated to raging.
To the new wave.
To the new wave. Like people are saying, like you can't do a new wave concert. There's a lot of concerts that were meant to happen this year or last year that didn't happen because for whatever reasons. But I feel like a lot of hip hop events don't get the full support of the people, until it gets to a certain point. It's like I remember like the Onyx parties that they used to throw, right? Those parties.
Onyx, the parties at the club Onyx.
No, not the club.
Or like Onyx, the hip hop group Onyx.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
you taking them back? You taking them?
So like Onyx parties and Genesis All Black and like I'm gonna throw one more in there. Flexecution, lituation. Just put it that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's say those groups of parties, right?
Yeah.
They might have. Genesis still happens, but specifically, like let's say Onyx, right? It might have never had the party where it had its 10,000 people, but I guarantee you that from the 1,000 people they had, the 1.5, the 2,000 people they had in those parties, influenced 10,000 kids or 15,000 kids to say, I'm going to that party next time. Flexecution, when they throw a party, people were excited for the next thing that's going to happen, right? But along the line somewhere, you might not get to finish that vision. You know what I'm saying? So Cotton Fest is really like taking all the inspiration and motivation from all those parties that happened. You know what I'm saying? That changed so many kids' lives and changed the way that people party and changed the way people get turned up, and really continuing that legacy. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. So obviously we're moving into a place where social distancing is really important, and the way I'm looking at Cotton Fest next year is that maybe it could be obviously it has to be limited numbers due to health regulations, and obviously I'm looking at it as maybe it can be a 2-day thing, over 2 days to try and get the necessary people involved. Maybe you do Saturday, or 2 weekends. The one Saturday and then the next Saturday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we definitely working on like on how we would do it, but definitely we're gonna whatever regulations come about, we're gonna do everything according to the regulations. But like I say, our main priority is just to keep the party going, keep the vibes going. So we're always gonna make a plan and come up with something to try to bring the people together. You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay. And then let's talk now. Dive back into a little bit again into your business profile. Let's talk about the barbershop. How's the barbershop doing? What is it looking like? I know beauty and all of that is a stage one situation. How are the guys? How are they eating? What's the plans for that legend? And also how did you actually get into opening up a barbershop?
Oh man, like we about being fresh, man, and like being fresh is something very important. If you go back to the track, even barbershop, the track that we had, barbershop was really just about being fresh. That's what it was about. You know what I'm saying? But man, life is crazy, bro, because that literally came about just from sparking a friendship with Sheldon from from Legends Barbershop, and you know, we were together doing stuff for maybe like 4 years, and the opportunity came about where he was trying to expand, and he, every time he would come through and cut my hair, or he would always tell me about how much he's going to expand his business, and what vision he had to make it something that's big and that's all around, that's all around the country and in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, every time he would come through, he would tell me like, "Yo, I'm getting started. I'm about to, I'm about to open up another one. I'm about to open up another store." And as the slow person I am sometimes, and the cautious person I am, I never really started asking the questions until he got to like the eighth store. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then he was about at the 8th store. Then it was like, "Yo, you got 8 now? Oh, it's going well." And then and he really presented the idea of, "Yo, if you wanna buy into one of these, get involved and be part of the family, because more than business, we're friends." You know what I'm saying? And we built a great friendship and a great working relationship. He supports all my events, even before I was part of his business, and so he really presented that opportunity, and it's something that I had to do, because it's really nice making a lot of money and being 100% focused on performing and the music. That's amazing. But for me, it's so amazing going into a different field and getting to learn from someone else who's built something from the ground up in another field. So I learn a lot from Sheldon every single day, and it's like the barbershop business is is simple business, but it's a business where you just have to take care of people, and I don't mind taking care of people. So it's just something we had to do. Right now the situation is a bit tough because of lockdown, so obviously we can't cut people's hair. People can't come through to the barbershops, and it's a bit difficult. But as soon as the restrictions allow us to open, we're just trying to create new systems to make sure we're safe. With salons and barbershops, you have to remember that we're almost like doctors, because we're touching people's faces, and that's got to be 100% safe before we continue. But I'm pretty sure that when we get back, I think things are going to be okay, and people are going to be very confident to come through and get their cuts.
That's beautiful. We got DJ MB in the building too with us too. He just sent us a shout out while we were speaking. So shout out to DJ MB. That's the big brother right there. I want to get into a couple of other questions. Just from people watching right now. So I'm going to the question box just enough to see what bad habits. Okay, that's an interesting question. Okay, so somebody obviously wants to know about your music. What is your next move? What, especially during a time like this, with regards to your music?
I mean, with music, it's like, I think the last full length album we released in 2018. We released the EP, Stay Shining EP, but my last full length album was 2015. So I mean, dog, with me, I mean, you know me well for a long time. With me, I don't try ever force the situation. It's every situation I get involved with has to be something I really want to do, and like with music is like one of the mediums that I found in my life to communicate, to communicate to people. It's just one of them. But I'm so interested in other mediums to communicate and to link people together, And the tricky part about music is that once you start doing music, you can sort of get boxed in as someone who just does music, And I've never viewed myself like that. I've viewed myself as someone who does music because they love it, puts it out when they feel like they need to put it out, or they feel like they want to put it out. But other than that, as someone who's always traveling and trying to figure out what they want to do next. So I'm constantly on a journey of figure out how I want to do whatever I want to do next, and how I want to communicate the the past 33 years of my life, you know. And sometimes the album is fine to do that. Sometimes the song is fine to do that for me, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it requires something bigger, something, you know, something that might not be sonically, something that might be just visually, you know. And I'm always trying to explore, like, what are those different things that I wanted to do as a kid, you know, because the music, I feel like I've done the music, you know, and I know what it takes into going to the music, but there's so many things I wanted to do as a kid that I haven't had the opportunity to do, and I'm chasing those things really, really hard. I'm really chasing those things hard. So I'll never take off like 6 months of growth that I need to make to just like create music and put it out and promote it. I'd rather have 6 months of growth, 12 months of growth, 2 years of growth, and then present that emotion, whether it's through music or through visuals or through whatever storytelling it might be. But it doesn't necessarily just have to be music for me. But I love making music, man. Like, I love freestyling. I love recording on beats. I'm always recording on beats. I'm always recording and doing certain stuff. I just might not be 100% married to the idea and to the release schedules anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, previously I used to love the release schedule. And right now it's like, you know, making music gives me the joy already, but the release schedule doesn't really make me excited anymore. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't excite me.
I know exactly how you feel. Sometimes you can lose that kind of inspiration for all the ups and downs that come with the music and like you say, in the release schedule. Lately, you know, I feel like I've had certain things that have kind of become like some sort of a calling. You know, I've recently gotten into IT. As you know, these sessions are powered by Megatech AI, a company that I'm working on, and you know, we're about to drop an amazing app called Connects Me. It's literally a voice over internet protocol app, meaning that, you know, from this app I'll be able to FaceTime you on your phone from the app, or call you, or call anyone anywhere in the world, you know, internationally. Be able to get on the app and call and communicate and connect, you know, with people, whether it's family members, fans, whoever, from outside of the app and from all over the world. So I'm also starting to feel like, you know, we're in our 30s now, and it's not even just the smart thing to do to diversify, but it's also starting to feel like it's something that there's other things that are drawing your heart towards certain things. Do you feel like that's happening to you too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and so I just shifted my chair down. That's what was wrong the whole time. I mean, I constantly feel like that, bro. Like, but not even an age thing, right? And I think you can even attest to this maybe a bit more. It's not even an age thing. It's you know, my personality was, even growing up, my personality was, I need to figure out how to make this puzzle. I'm gonna make the puzzle.
I like that.
I get done with the puzzle, I put it to the side, right? 1,000-piece puzzle. I get done with it, I put it to the side. What am I figuring out next? You know? That's like my mentality. It's always been my mentality. So even when I used to play ball, it was like, okay, we want to be a good team. That was the first step. Make the team good, right? And then I want to beat this school, beat that school, right? And then there's all the other stuff that people say you can go and do more. There's more, go ahead, there's more and more. But in my head, it's like, actually what I wanted to do was just beat that school.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to go figure out something else. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so do you think
that's my brain. Like, my brain is like, it's like, my brain is jumping. My brain is not stuck on becoming Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I never, like, that was never the thing for me. My thing was like, can I do one album? I'm gonna do all these mixtapes. Somewhere down the line, can I get one album in?
Yeah.
Can I complete the album? Can I mix it? Can I shoot the videos? Can I do the shows? That's one.
Yeah.
now my brain is in overload. It's like, damn, okay, I spent 15 years of my life doing that.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I can do it forever. But can I go use what's left of my energy to try to figure out what else is going on in the world? You know, you know, can I not deprive myself and deprive, you know, people in other fields with you know, with a different experience? You know what I'm saying?
I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to see that in you when it comes to Cluster Titch. You know, you're really putting them under your wing, and it seems like, you know, you really putting on that now. That I don't want to call it a record label hat, but I want to call it like what, a mentor. You know, you starting to become a mentor to these young kids. Do you think you could also take that to maybe a record label space, a business, you know, being a boss, you know,
No.
being one of them, being a birdman in the game? No. So how far do you want to take that to?
Dude, for me, honestly, like, and I guess most of the people that come across me will know, it's like I just wanna help and see where you take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it you? Is like, if, let's say like people gotta feel like it was you. You get what I'm saying? It's like if I came out with you still in 2014, after being with you, you know, a lot of, you know, half of my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you for half of my life. But if I like still came out with you and done the album with you and it was under your label and all of that stuff, right? With all of your experience and with all of your, you know, the ups and downs that you went into, go into my rollout, is it me? You know what I'm saying? Is that me? I don't know if it's me then. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, so you gotta,
like,
I get exactly where you're coming from.
So with all these young guys, my goal, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but my goal is to try show them that there is a fruitful life in doing this, and especially doing it as an independent artist.
And your way, and also your way.
And my way, but not in the sense that you have to like use the tools that are in front of you. Take the tools, take them. Even if you run with them, just take them. Like, use some of the knowledge and run with it. That's fine. That's all I ever expect. Like, I tried to do the record label thing and start a label and like, but like the label wants you like to sign niggas and you signing niggas to shitty deals, and it's like, for me it's like, dog, I'm not gonna sign anyone to set them up for failure. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And I'm not gonna sign anyone and have a machine, you know, I have a battery in their back, you know, that gives them success. And once you take the battery out their back, they can't do anything. You know, that's pointless to me. You know, that's a waste of time. Like,
and it's torture. You know, you're playing with people's lives when it comes to things like that.
You're playing with people's lives, bro, and it's like money and the emotion of just wanting to help people out. That does it. You know, they don't. You know, those two worlds don't mix, especially in the music business. Yeah. Those two worlds don't mix. So I would rather, like, yes, sort of give someone a spotlight, you know, and I pray that they can take that little bit of spotlight and take some of what they see us doing and implement that into their lives and into their brands, more importantly, you know. And you know, a lot of guys have done that, and I'm so proud. Like, I'm really proud. Like, I'm proud of a guy like Frank, because, like, you know, Frank will get into his own story. You need to do one of these with Frank. But Frank will get into his own story, but, you know, people might look at Frank and say, like, you know,
what, Ricky?
His trajectory is meant to, you know, do this, or is meant to be doing that, or is meant. But people don't know the level of control Frank has over his life, his music, and his business is worth more than somebody who gets all the accolades and gets all the shine, but doesn't have any of their affairs in order. You know what I'm saying?
I love
It's
that.
like, so many artists, bro. So many artists.
I have to toast to that one. Where's your water? I'm off the water. I'm on the red wine now.
My water's done. It's like,
no, really, that was beautiful what you just said. Beautiful.
And it's like, dude, like, bro, it's like, listen, man, I've been like, dude, it's been a long time me wanting to do music and sort of being in the music space. And I'm not saying I'm a god or I'm bulletproof, but we've seen runs of artists come in and out of the industry. We've seen artists win all the awards in 1 year and next year be nothing and mean nothing, you know. We've seen people, you know, charging, you know, the most exorbitant prices for booking to you know, wouldn't be able to beg to get on the lineup for free, you know?
Yeah.
We've seen the cycle so many times, but the only hope in the cycle that I've ever seen was from people who control their whole destinies. They might sacrifice a couple of awards, they might sacrifice some radio play, but they've got the control and they can be who they want to be at any given moment, and nobody can take anything away from them, you know. It's like, you know, so I mean, you've been in the game. I mean, you were celebrating your 10-year solo, so your 12 years solo now since your solo album, and and before then you were already previously releasing and still been involved in the industry. How many people that were at the top of the top of the mountain when it came to, you know, cachet as being an artist, you know, where are they right now? And it's not that they were less talented or they didn't have the talent, they didn't everything. They just didn't have the control.
And so do you think also they never managed their funds right? Because I'm seeing a lot of this chat on the internet now from everybody in the industry with regards, like, everybody's like a master of funds, you know. Everyone knows, and it seems like the only industry that is being looked upon, and yes, we're in the limelight, but we're not the only industry. It's like every time, that's what I see on Twitter. It's like, oh, you know, the musicians, hey, you guys, some of you artists should have saved, or some of, you know, this is a really big thing, you know. Hopefully some of you guys can plan better, or hopefully you guys cannot, you guys have been spending too much, you know. Do you think the reason why we've seen some of these people come and go is because they just didn't know how to manage their finances? You know, like, what's your take on what these people are talking about on Twitter? Because for me, I see that we are all going through this together. You know, we are all in lockdown. Businesses are collapsing, from all kinds of businesses, you know. And yes, we all like to buy nice things, bro. I mean, we all, especially in hip hop, we all like to treat ourselves a certain way. Some of us never ever dream of possibly having those certain things, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're dummies. Do you know what I mean? And it's especially on hip hop, where it's like, yeah, you know, what now? What, you know what I mean? Like, we make music to inspire people. Do you know what I mean? We like to talk about the flash. We like to talk about jiggy things. It's what keeps the energy going. But I mean, for people to just turn around and just look at the hip hop industry, like, yo, where's your financial advisor here? Are you diversifying there? Don't you? Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of a slap in the face. You know? What's your take on that conversation?
I think it's like, you know, unfortunately, like in this music industry and just industry in general, you know, like we are so we're so oblivious, not even just music, man, in anything. We're so oblivious to how much work people put into to do their jobs. Um, like you don't like. I don't see. I see people coming out and saying musicians are reckless. Cool. Is anyone coming out and saying Apple is reckless? You know. You know. Apple loses 4 billion because of this corona. You know, is anyone coming out saying Apple is reckless? You know, every business is bleeding money and losing money right now. Very few businesses are on the right side of this crisis. And I feel like musicians are always the low-hanging fruit. It's so easy to target a musician because we've opened up our lives to people. And as musicians, it's so easy to point at a musician and say, you shouldn't have bought that car. But, you know, people should have the criticism all round. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, for musicians, people don't understand. If you're talking about people spending money recklessly, you might be talking about 0.01% of musicians. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many actors out there. There's so many musicians coming up, even established musicians that have nothing. And everything that they get, they put back into their business. Even the people right at the top, every cent that they get, they put back into their business. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I have an issue with people trying to point out that artists have not lived their lives correctly. Who the fuck has lived their life correctly? You know, someone can earn a 5,000 rand for working in retail and still buy a sneaker at the end of the month, a sneaker that's worth 1.2, a Jordan that's worth 1.2. You know what I'm saying? That's generally how people are. Everyone's just been trying to get by, you know, and especially as South Africans, as black people, you know, 90% of us are poor. 90% of the country is poor, man. So we're all trying to figure out what to do about money. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, people attacking artists and, you know, saying artists are, you know, irresponsible. For me, it's like it couldn't be furthest from the truth. Because I saw you win R1 million at Tropica. I saw you win R1 million at Tropica. On TV, the whole country saw you do that. But nobody saw you taking 700,000 and putting it into a studio. Nobody saw you taking 700,000 of that million and putting it right back into your art, or putting it right back into your garage that you transformed into a studio. Nobody saw that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
People don't see that. People don't see. Let me use an example everyone's gonna relate to. And this one can whatever, but people can see Cassper buying a Bentley and having a Bentley, right? But they don't see the 7, 8, 9 million rand that he puts into his art. They don't see the 15 million rand that's been put back into the art. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's like, I feel like people just need to calm the fuck down and stop trying to point the fingers. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, we're so behind already, man. As Black South Africans, bro, we're so behind already. We don't need people, you know. If it's someone who's doing what you do in the industry and they're giving you that advice, take it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's someone who's not putting their money up, I take everything they say with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I take that with a grain of salt. If someone's not doing it, they're not in it like I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I've with everything that I have and that I've bought, it's only the things that I like. I've only ever bought the things that I like. Can anybody be blamed for buying things that they like and that they cherish?
And that worked hard for.
And they work hard for, and they feel like they like it. Can anybody be blamed for that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't blame people for that. But what you can do is try to teach people how to make better choices. Unfortunately, it only happens once we get a bit older. But, you know, I don't want people that's not in the hip hop community and that's not putting in the work and not putting the money up talking about people's finances in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people that's not in the community, that don't come to the events. I don't want people that don't show real love to our industry talking about our artists. And as artists, we need to also be like, fuck that. You know, that's not cool. It's not cool for people from the outside coming inside, you know, coming in our house and telling us how to run our house. You haven't put what we have on the line. You know, we don't have bosses. We've never had bosses. We're not employed. Everything that we make, we put back into the game.
Like
Everything that we put it back on the streets. And I've never made a profit. I can tell you now, from all these years, and as much as like I can stunt if I want to stunt, I've never made a profit at the end of the year. When it comes to pay tax, I've never ever made a profit. Because everything I do, I put it back on the streets. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything. You get me? So, you know, if someone's gonna get on the artist, you know, for putting their life on the line, and then, you know, buying something nice, and then saying, "Oh, that's the reason why you broke." It's like, you know. But good financial advice is good, but I don't want people from outside of the culture telling us how we need to run the culture. So I even saw that AKA and Sizwe thing. For me, it's like whack, you know, it's whack. Like, I called AKA when he was talking about the Reebok deal. I called him on the phone.
Yeah.
You get me? And I spoke to him about that situation, personally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he told me where he's coming from. He told me his plans. But like, you know, for C's to really get involved on that level, it's like, you know, my nigga's like, I see you, you're a commentator, but it's like, you know, at the same time, it's like, you know, you make your money somewhere else. You don't make your money in rap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, stop coming for the rappers. If you love this culture, build the culture, but don't come for niggas. You know what I'm saying? Don't try and make niggas look weak or lesser than you, because, you know, they're still trying to figure it out too. We're all trying to figure it out. We haven't figured it out like you have. We're not on your level. We don't have farms. We're not mining. We're not there yet. But niggas are trying to put in the steps. Niggas are trying to put in the steps.
Yeah, I mean,
You asked about the barbershop thing. Sorry, not to cut you off, just to finish off.
Okay.
You asked me about the barbershop thing. It's like, I take 2 million rand, I put it into a barbershop, which is the right thing to do. Dog, only God is going to say there's going to be this crisis, a pandemic that's going to come your way, and all that money that you worked hard to put aside to build something for your future can be taken away. It can still be taken away. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I get it, man. It's hip hop, you know, and we like to lean on each other and step each other and push each other down. You know, we do that a lot. But at the end of the day, it's like, dog, it's like, you know, if you're in it, you know, tell me something. But if you're not in it, it's like, leave it alone. Let them deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And as artists, we need to have more of that attitude. I'm just not a nigga who jumps on Twitter and talks, you know, I'm not that type of guy who talks on Twitter. I'm not that type of guy, but I would have loved to say something, but it's like, I don't want to take internal issues, like hip-hop issues that are internal, and make them for everybody. Make them for 100,000 people who never understand what it means and what it's like to build a music a music career. You know what I'm saying? I don't wanna give it to the people, because they might not even understand some of the pain that all artists go through. So, you know.
Yeah, no. So I just wanted to say, just to end it on that note, it's like, you know, looking at the AKA TV app, which is brilliant, you know, and I just seen him tweet something the other day about how he's actually putting out some of his own money to make sure that the app is running. He's obviously got to pay the guys that he works with to make sure that they deliver what they need to deliver, whether it's the band members, whether it's the guy behind the scenes. He also needs for it to be paid. You know, he has to pay for the production. And I think he put the number there. He said it was about like 40 or 50 G's and you know, all he's asking is for is 50 rand. You know, I think it's 50 rand a month, or I'm not too sure how the subscription fee works. And these are the exact kind of conversations that you're talking about. It's about taking all the hard work that you've done and putting it back into the game, literally. And it is sad.
Les, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we doing if we're gonna put 20 years of our lives, and when we get the success and we get the money, we don't put it back into the streets?
That's not what we got into it for. That's not
the point?
That's not why we do it. You know,
we got into it to build it up and to make it continue forever. You know, and it's like, hate it or love it, that man is doing and he's trying something. I don't agree with a lot of his strategies. I don't agree with the way he talks on social media a lot of the time. I tell him that, you know, but he's trying to do what he knows best and try to create platforms. You know what I'm saying? And just for him to do AKA TV, it's showing another 1,000 kids that they can do an app. It's showing another 100 artists that, yo, you can do an app. You get what I'm saying? Like, you took me into your house. This shit is gonna cut, but you took me into your house, not to get a financial gain from me. You took me into your house and let me sleep on. You gave me a bed to sleep on because you knew this is going to build the game. Fuck the losses. We're gonna take the losses, but we're doing this to build the game. So it's like, let's build. Like, and if you're not gonna build, get the fuck out.
Yo, thank you so much, Ricky. Like you said, this shit is gonna cut, man. I love you to death. The app, my app's coming out soon. It's called Connects Me. This app is really gonna change the world. It's gonna change Africa. We're gonna be able to. So the next time we'll be talking, will be through the app. You know, and I just, nobody gets left behind is the slogan. I really, really just want you to just get behind this app. It's gonna help and change a lot of people's lives. And I wish I could get into a lot more questions, but like you said, we only got a minute left. I love you, my brother. This has been such a fruitful and amazing conversation. This red wine I didn't even get to drink because I was you know, but this is a toast to you, and a toast to everything you got going, my brother.
Big up,
we'll
man.
definitely continue this conversation, my brother. But thank you so much, man. You know, I love you, dog. You know you mine.
I love you too, bro. I love you too, man. Always love, man. Thank you to everyone who tuned in too. Thank you, guys.
All right, no doubt.
Peace. Save that.
I'm saving it. Chill. Chill. You're messing me up. Hang up. There you have it. My boy Riky Rick came through, shining. We had a wonderful, fruitful conversation. This has probably been the best one so far, and I knew it would be because, like I said, you know, we go way back and we have such wonderful, engaging conversations. Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions. You know, I will definitely find some way to definitely get Riky Rick back on, and you can ask him again, or you can just hit him up. But this is Get Real with your boy Elias, powered by Megatech AI. Yeah, thank you so much. Tune in again next Tuesday. And I will make sure that I save this and I'll put it back up. And hopefully you guys have been recording some of the things that we spoke about. And hopefully anybody who's just been inspired and who's ready to get into any kind of industry, you take what we've kind of given you as firsthand and you multiply it, as Ricky would say. So for myself, Elias, peace. Thanks, y'all. Nobody gets left behind.